aham hi, myself, Sitam Rajyam cha. I will give my Sita, my kingdom, the entire Ayodhya. Pranan, Ishtan, Dhananija. My own pranas I will give. Ishtan, Dhananija. Whatever wealth and treasure is there belonging to me or where I can lay my hands on, all of them I am with contentment prepared to give to Bharata. Krishto Bhratre Swayam Dadyam. It is of my own volition. I don't want anybody to tell me or ask me or remind me about it. Swayam Dadyam Bharataya Aprachodidaha. No prachodana I want from anybody else. I am prepared to give. He is the pupil of my eye. And if Bharata is happy, I am happier. Otherwise, I am not happy at all. Yavan matarama priche Sitam cha anunayamyaham tadodyaiva gamishyami dandakanam mahadvanam. Be sure, my stepmother, before the sun sets today, Rama will have left Ayodhya. No doubt about it. I only want a little time. What for? Yavan matarama priche Sitam cha anunayamyaham. First of all, I have to go and tell my mother. As a mother, I know that she will be totally in tears. Maybe she will become unconscious, almost rolling like my father. So I want some time to speak to and discuss the subject with the mother. If necessary, prevail upon her, console her, give her all the promise that is necessary. Only that much time I need. What more? Sitam cha anunayamyaham. I have to equally make Sita consent to this proposal. They don't know. This is an affair between you and me. I am the son of Dasharatha and the Vagdatas and promises are given to you and you want to implement them. So it is an interaction between you and me. The others are outside parties now. But when I go away, the whole subject becomes equally theirs, because they are all emotionally bound towards me and towards the whole event. So give me some time. But nevertheless, no doubt, before the sun sets, Rama will have left Ayodhya. Yavan matarama priche Sitam cha anunayamyaham tatodyaiva gamishyami dandakanam mahadvanam. Rama left the room, straight away went to the mother Kausalya, and he said, this is what has happened. Kausalya was full of tears. She started almost beating her chest. Said that when you are gone, my pranas will leave me. You can imagine Kausalya's distress, grief and what not. So after some time, Rama started speaking to her, explaining to her that this is the situation. I have no option at all. It's a matter of righteousness. Would you like to have a son who dishonors the father? After all, the father has gifted you, me, the son, as well as the others. It is the first obligation on our part to look after our father and also to fulfill whatever he wants to fulfill. I don't need any particular persuasion from anybody. No previous consent is necessary. I am the son and he is the father. You are my mother. As I agree to go, your mind also will have to agree to bless me to go. There is no other option. When this kind of a discussion, righteous discussion took place between the son and the mother, after all, every heart is human and is always crying for the beckoning of the truth. That is what we are looking for. Kausalya consoled herself, revived herself, and she said, my dear son, I am very sorry. I don't expect any other resolve from you. What you have done and what you propose to do is right. Go with my blessings. Let the 14 years pass as 14 months, and I shall be here to receive you, warmly welcome you. This is what Kausalya said. You know, Kausalya, who bore Rama in her womb for nearly 9 months, this is what happened. Now, I am asking every one of you, my viewers, one question. What will you do? If Kaikeyi told you this and you were Rama, what would you do? I have asked this question generally in front of children. Most of the children will say, I will not go, I will not go. But there will be at least one Rama there to say, I shall and I will go. See, both the same mind is asserting. The ordinary mind will say, I will not go. How can I go? Let the stepmother blabber anything. The strength, the resolve, the readiness, the dedication, the will, the wish, the righteous temper, all these we are capable of invoking from our own mind. Our mind is not a nonsense. Our mind is not a trifling thing. It is the repository of grandeur. It is the repository of magnificence. It is the repository of superb strength, glory, and greatness. Never defile yourself. Never defile your mind also. For everything the inspiration comes from the mind. The entire body is shaped by it, designed by it, ruled by it. Bodily, our growth is arrested at the age of 21. Mentally, we continue to grow till the last breath of ours. Never set limits to your mind. Always understand the mind is as much as the space, endless, vast, interminable. There is nothing in creation which can overcome or outstrip the human mind and its potential. Be very sure about it. So Rama decided to go. All people opposed, including sage Vasishtha. With every note of opposition, Rama's will and resolve started ascending greater and greater heights and magnificence. It was like a hurdle race, one after the other. He outstripped and went ahead. Finally, Rama, Lakshmana and Sita were on the chariot, properly dressed. Rama was dressed in the ascetic dress. And he got into the chariot, Sita was there, Lakshmana also decided to go. When Lakshmana decided to go, Sumitra tells him, what is the message? Sumitra did not say you should not go. You are a close follower of your brother. And wherever Rama goes, your brother goes, you also go. And this is the message. And this is the greatest message and greatest words of Ramayana. Ramam Dasharatham Vidhi, Mam Vidhi Janaka Atmajam, Ayodhyam Atavim Vidhi, Gacchatat Yatha Sukham. Ramam Dasharatham Vidhi, Ramam Dasharatham Vidhi, Ramam Dasharatham Vidhi. Vidhi means know, understand, accept. Ramam, Rama, Dasharatham Vidhi. Regard Rama as Dasharatha, as your father. For 14 years you are going to be away from the palace. Your father will not be there, I will not be there, nor the others will be there. You and Rama and Sita would be there. So your attitude towards Rama should be not just a brother of yours. Understand that he is Dasharatha, the father for you. Ramam Dasharatham Vidhi, Mam Vidhi Janakatmajam. Janakatmaja. Atmaja means daughter. Janaka of Janaka. The daughter of Janaka, Janaki, you should consider that she is myself, your mother. Mam Vidhi. In Sanskrit, every word has got many meanings. The word Ma also is an epithet of Mahalakshmi. So consider Sita to be Mahalakshmi also. Mam Vidhi Janakatmajam, Ayodhyam Atavim Vidhi. So far you were in the palace. You had your footwear. And many things were there. Marble floors, beautiful things, suitable cots, beds, flowers, garlands, gems, jewels, what not. But from today onwards you are going to walk on pebbles, on thorny grounds, on hills, mounds, what not. But all that you consider to be Ayodhya. Ayodhyam Atavim Vidhi Gacchatat Yatha Sukham. My dear son, go comfortably, happily, with a lot of reassurance. Make everything jovial, jubilant. Never cry, never weep, never have a sense of sorrow. This is the greatest providential opportunity that you have got to be of assistance to your father, to protect him as well as Sita when they are alone in the forest. This is the message Sumitra gave. I would like to ask every one of you. There are so many quarrels in homes taking place about wealth, etc., to be divided over children, brothers, sisters, and all that. What should be your attitude, my dear viewers? Have you thought about it? Valmiki and Ramayana picture before you these instances to tell you that mentally you should never be a beggar. Never be a beggar. Never look for anything in this world. You have all that you want within your body, in the Panchabhautik body. The Supreme Soul is there to give you all the splendor that you want. It is a question of having the right and the noble and elevating attitude. See how the mother talks to the son. Are you not mothers? Don't you have words? Will you pick up similar attitude when crucial and testing situations and occasions come? Ramayana is there beckoning you for all this. Ramam Dasharatham Vidhi Mam Vidhi Janakatmajam Ayodhyam Atavim Vidhi Gachatat Yatha Sukham. All the three of them got into the chariot, and the chariot was about to be driven. Right at that time, Dasharatha, unlike Kausalya, came there, rolling practically. And Sumantra, the trusted minister and counselor of Dasharatha, he was driving the chariot. So Sumantra was a very elderly person, and he was driving the chariot. Rama was Dasharatha's son. Sumantra was the father's minister, though he was driving the chariot. Three of them there. Dasharatha came, looked at the chariot. It is about to speed on. So he said, Tishteti Raja Chukrosha Yahi Yahi Di Raghavaha Sumantrasya Babhuva Atma Chakrayori Vachantare. He cried out in distress, Sumantra, Tishtha, stop, halt. Chukrosha Raja. Practically in distress, he held forth. Yahi Yahi Di Raghavaha. But Rama, sitting inside the chariot, as the master of the chariot, he says, Yahi, Yahi Di, don't stop, go, go, fast, very fast. This is the order of Raghava. And to stop is the order of the father Dasharatha. Sumantrasya babhuvatma chakrayori vachantare. Just imagine. This is the very critical moment in the story of Ramayana, in the life of Rama. A very critical moment, and Valmiki is describing it. Can you imagine a greater touch, a human touch in the whole narration? So the great Sumantra, the adorable Sumantra, he became like Chakrayori Vachantare Babhuvatma. The soul or the jiva of Sumantra was caught up in between two wheels. Both of them are rolling in the opposite direction. And he was in between, crushed. So he felt, what am I to do? The father is asking me to halt, and the son is asking me to speed on. What shall I do now? If I speed on, I will be disregarding Dasharatha, whose obedient servant and minister I was all these years. If I don't drive on, I will be dishonoring, not paying heed to the master of the chariot. As a charioteer, I am to listen to and fulfill the wishes of the master. So what shall I do now? He became the most indecisive. Rama did not keep quiet. He sensed it. He said, Nashrausamiti rajanam upalabdhovi vakshyasi chiram dukkhasya pavishtam idi ramastam abravid. Sumantra, please listen to me. Nashrausamiti rajanam. Suppose my father, Raja, asks you, I cried out, why did you not stop? Simply tell him, I did not listen to you. Nashrausamiti rajanam. I don't know whether you are with me when I say this. Rama tells the elderly Sumantra, oh Sumantra Dev, please listen to me. When father asks you and confronts you, you say that you did not listen to what he said. He may scold you. Chiram dukkhasya papishtam. Why? We are now in a state of misery. Our father will not tolerate this scene at all. He will not be able to bear it. I saw him beforehand in the room of Kaikeyi, how, in what kind of a distress he was. Now he will not be able to tolerate it. So this is a miserable scene, and don't extend the state of misery or duration of misery. It is wrong to extend the state of misery. Suppose there is a dead body, and all the people around, relatives, are crying and weeping, crying and weeping. Will you come and encourage them to cry and weep and make the dead body remain there for long? Or somehow persuading them and taking it away for cremation? So no dukkhavasara, no moment or duration of misery should be extended. Chiram dukkhasya papishtam. Suppose you try to extend it, it is very sinful. Idi ramastam abravid. Idi ramastam abravid. Rama told Sumantra in this manner. What do you understand from this? A great moral for your life. Whatever may be the situation, if it is one of misery, affliction, torment and suffering, never extend it at all. Bring an end to it. Don't allow people to cry and weep for longer and longer. You can allow them to cry for a short while. I remember an instance where my Purvashrama mother left her body. She left her body as a sannyasini. I was there in Jnanashram just the night before, because Purushottama Swamiji wanted me. Today she appears to be very unwell. I would like you to be here. So I went there. I was staying. And somewhere during the night, I don't know when, we were by the side. She breathed her last. We did not remove the dead body from the cot as is normally the tradition. An old man came. Why we disturb? Let her be there. So if you have no objection, we also like it. So we kept the dead body there. Early in the morning we washed. But my Purvashrama sister, very elder to me, and the first daughter of our parents, she was not there. She was in Chennai. So after getting the news, she came, and her arrival was just before midday. So she came and started crying and crying. All these days I was there, my dear mother, but at your last moment I was not there. So I waited for some time, about 5 to 6 or 7 minutes. After 7 minutes I said, my dear sister, enough. Now let us look after the body. Stop. So you should understand that this is a very important principle. No occasion of misery or affliction should be allowed to linger on at all, come what may. And whatever is expedient at the moment, you are allowed to do it and you must do it. So this is the moral for it. Ramasya javajah kurvan anujñāpya jatam janam vrajatobi hayan shighram chodayamasa saradhihi. After listening to Rama, he clearly understood what was the message for him. There was no reason for him to think about the father or the son. The occasion is miserable, and they are already out to conduct a mission. So that mission should be fulfilled. Thinking in this manner, Ramasya javajah kurvan anujñāpya jatam janam. So many people had come around, rallied around the chariot. So Sumantra had sufficient presence of mind as to what he should do. So he decided to drive the chariot, and he told all of them, please keep away, I am driving the chariot, and he drove the chariot. Vrajato bihayan shighram chodayamasa saradhi. He gave an order for the horses to run very fast, and they disappeared from the scene. Rama went. So many people had followed him. Valmiki says, the entire Ayodhya folk followed him. In their kitchen, there was no smoke at all. Everything was stopped. So when one Rama, inspired by the supreme notes of morality, ethics, and personal fondness and loyalty, left Ayodhya, the throne, can you imagine? It had a volcanic reaction in all the minds of people. When you do something good, great, and glorious, it is bound to have an impact on all people around. All of them went. That day they stayed at a particular point. So all of them went to sleep. You know what Rama did? Finding that all of them are asleep, he told Sumantra, let us go. But he did not drive ahead. He said, let us turn back, so that when the people wake up, they will find that we have gone back. A few kilometers they went back to Ayodhya on the same route, and thereafter they departed and went away. There also he employed a stealth. Now as a contrast, this was in Treta Yuga. In Dwapara Yuga, when Pandavas were banished to the forest, defeated in a dice play, nobody followed them. Nobody followed them. The two are different. One was a game of dice. Who asked them to play? There was no necessity at all. It was Yudhishthira's special fascination. He was actually a slave to dice play. That is why all this calamity took place. So nobody followed. So when somebody good, righteous, noble and benign, I think his words will have appeal to human hearts and minds and not otherwise. This I would like you to understand. Now, Valmiki is narrating. I am giving you some of the elements of Ramayana. The first halt they had was in Chitrakuta. As soon as Rama left, the chariot disappeared from the sight of Dasharatha. He started calling, Rama, Rama, Rama. He fell dead. Can you imagine how much attachment or delusional clinging can cause? It can take away your life. My dear householders, understand this. Listen to it with rapt attention. Every one of you, in the hands of your own family members, are suffering from so much of delusional clinging. Any time Dasharatha plight and fate may come to you, but it should not, warns Valmiki through Dasharatha. I am asking every one of you, are you going to be a Dasharatha or a Kausalya? Who had greater association and clinging to Rama? This obviously Kausalya. She was the one who bore him for 9 months in the womb, breastfed him. Dasharatha did not have that much of closeness, etc. But the attachment was too much, as a result of which what happened? He could not bear the impact of separation. I even now would like to ask Dasharatha, why did you die? What was the reason to die? Your son was a great son, honorable son, glorious son. Even today he is being worshipped by crores and crores of people all over the world. Having given birth to such a son, you should be all the more honored. But what did you do? Where was the necessity for it? No necessity at all. But Kausalya also had the same feeling of inseparability in her mind. But what did she do? She listened to Rama. Similarly, Dasharatha could have discussed this subject with Rama, and Rama would have spoken to him, his dear Rama, speaking to him dearly. It must have had a dear effect also. But Dasharatha gave no opportunity or no chance. All your problems are because of unnecessary subdual of your emotions. Express them, share them openly, then you will find you will have all the relief and all the cure and redress. Rama, together with Lakshmana and Sita, sped on to Chitrakuta, as I said. They camped in Chitrakuta for a while. That was the time Bharata had already come to the palace of Ayodhya. He found the entire palace gloomy, and he found that something had gone gravely wrong. Nobody was speaking anything at all. Then he inquired what has happened, what all transpired. So from some people he could collect the information. You should imagine how Bharata went into a mood of disgust and utter dislike and hatred for the mother. The manner in which this wonderful Bharata, the so wonderful son, righteous son Bharata, blames his mother, ridicules her, it is something too much.